Applying for a green card through marriage is one of the most common immigration pathways in the United States. While many couples enter into genuine marriages, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, is highly vigilant about identifying fraudulent unions created solely for immigration benefits. As a result, applications are subjected to close scrutiny, interviews, background checks, and document verification. USCIS officers are trained to look for specific, red flags that may suggest a marriage is not bona fide. These warning signs do not automatically mean fraud, but they can raise suspicion and result in delays, requests for more evidence, or outright denial. Understanding these red flags can help genuine couples avoid unnecessary problems and prepare a strong, credible case. Let's explore the top 10 red flags that USCIS looks for in marriage-based green card applications. 1. Significant age difference between spouses. A large age gap between the petitioner and the beneficiary is one of the first things USCIS officers may notice. While many genuine couples have age differences, a substantial gap, especially if combined with other red flags, can trigger suspicion about the authenticity of the relationship. Officers will often probe how the couple met and whether they truly share a romantic bond or have mutual interests. The concern arises when the relationship appears more transactional, or if the younger spouse is significantly benefiting from the immigration process while the older spouse seems unaware of important details. 2. Short courtship or rapid marriage timeline. When a couple marries soon after meeting, particularly if they met online or shortly before a visa is set to expire, USCIS may question whether the relationship has had enough time to develop. A quick engagement and wedding can suggest that the couple did not take the time to build a genuine relationship. During interviews, officers will inquire about key milestones in the relationship such as dating history, time spent together, and family involvement. A rushed timeline, especially without a shared history or evidence of time spent together, is a major red flag. 3. Inconsistent or contradictory testimonies. One of the most telling red flags is when spouses give inconsistent answers during interviews. USCIS often conducts joint and separate interviews, sometimes known as Stokes interviews, asking each spouse detailed questions about their daily lives, such as who wakes up first, how many televisions they have, or what kind of toothpaste they use. If answers don't match, the officer may suspect the couple doesn't live together or doesn't share a real marital relationship. Even small discrepancies, if numerous or suspicious, can undermine credibility and lead to denial. 4. Lack of common language or communication issues. USCIS takes note when spouses do not speak the same language or require an interpreter to communicate with each other during interviews. While many genuine couples come from different linguistic backgrounds, the agency expects them to have at least some form of communication. A marriage where one or both parties cannot communicate without a translator may be seen as lacking intimacy or authenticity, especially if they have been together for a while. Officers will often ask how they first communicated and whether they've learned each other's language over time. 5. Different addresses or lack of shared residence. Living at separate addresses is a major red flag for USCIS, as genuine married couples typically live together. If documentation, such as utility bills, lease agreements, or mail, shows different addresses, or if one spouse is absent from the household, the officer may assume the marriage is not genuine. Even when there's a legitimate reason, such as military deployment or job relocation, applicants must provide strong evidence that the separation is temporary and that the couple maintains a marital relationship, including frequent communication and visits. 6. No shared financial or legal responsibilities. Married couples often share bank accounts, health insurance, utility bills, leases, and other legal responsibilities. A lack of shared finances is viewed suspiciously by USCIS, especially when couples cannot provide joint tax returns, joint credit cards, or evidence of financial interdependence. Officers expect to see that the couple has intertwined their lives legally and financially. If each spouse manages completely separate finances without overlap, it may appear that they are maintaining individual lives rather than functioning as a unified couple. 7. No evidence of a shared life or social integration. Photos with family, joint travel records, messages, wedding invitations, and social media posts all serve as evidence of a real marriage. A couple with no shared photos, especially of family gatherings or significant events, raises eyebrows. Similarly, if the couple hasn't introduced each other to their families or friends, it could suggest the marriage isn't genuine. USCIS is also skeptical of applicants who are not present in each other's online lives or cannot provide proof of interaction before marriage, such as emails, chats, or call logs. 8. Previous immigration petitions or marriages. A spouse who has previously petitioned for another immigrant or has a history of multiple marriages can attract additional scrutiny. USCIS checks for patterns of abuse of the immigration system. If a petitioner has sponsored multiple foreign-born spouses or if the foreign spouse has been married to other U.S. citizens in the past, the officer may suspect the marriage is part of a fraud ring. In these cases, a strong burden of proof falls on the couple to demonstrate that their relationship is legitimate and not arranged solely for immigration benefits. 9. Discrepancies in cultural or religious expectations. Cultural and religious differences do not automatically signal fraud, but they can become red flags when couples seem unfamiliar with each other's traditions or do not participate in each other's cultural or religious lives. For instance, if one spouse follows a religious practice requiring marriage ceremonies or specific rituals and the couple skip these traditions without a reasonable explanation, USCIS may question whether the marriage is genuine. Officers may ask about cultural celebrations, in-laws, or whether religious leaders were involved in the ceremony. 10. Poor documentation or lack of supporting evidence. A weak or disorganized application package is often a red flag on its own. USCIS expects detailed and convincing documentation, including a well-written relationship history, evidence of joint living, shared finances, photographs, affidavits from friends and family, and legal documents like leases or insurance policies. If a couple submits few documents, outdated information, or only staged photos, it can raise doubts. Poor quality evidence often leads to a request for evidence, RFE, or even a notice of intent to deny, NOID. The burden is on the couple to prove the legitimacy of their marriage, not for USCIS to assume it. Marriage-based green card applications are subject to some of the strictest scrutiny in the U.S. immigration system, precisely because of the potential for abuse. USCIS officers are trained to spot inconsistencies, suspicious patterns, and signs that a relationship might be fraudulent. However, couples in genuine relationships can avoid many of these red flags through careful documentation, honest communication, and transparency throughout the process. Understanding what USCIS looks for allows applicants to prepare more thoroughly and respond proactively to potential concerns. While no relationship is perfect, being open, organized, and prepared can make all the difference when seeking to prove the authenticity of your marriage to immigration authorities.